My name is Ibrahim bin Yasser, and it is my pleasure to adjudicate this debate along with my assistant MC, Chewok Lee. The scenario that we will discuss today is set in the country of Iraq, which has established itself as a global leader in artificial intelligence. The teams we have today are Team Goosebrain, Missing Semester, and Okai. So without further ado, I'd like to open the presentation session today with Team Okai.
The basic ideology of the new era corresponds with 사인여천. This means to serve people like Kevin. Therefore, in accordance with the idea of 사인여천, by bringing these three factors into the society, we strongly believe that era can become a real utopia. Policies are divided into 6 categories. Through these, we hope to solve existing social problems in era.
Considering the policies, we have come up with 3 products to overcome the crisis that the era currently faces. Previously, ERA has reached an irreversible level of layer polarization and an AI-oriented industrial distribution. As each of the problems interlocked, it led to a vicious circle. Thus, the introduction of some extreme policies was inevitable. Policies such as the introduction of a wealth tax and reorganization of title may be considered unsatisfactory to some high-income earners. But they were essential changes for ERA's long-term growth. By the reorganization of title, more diverse and talented students are now effectively recruited from each university. Thus, students who had not been able to break the 5% wall are now given an opportunity to realize their dreams. In addition, ERA has made the biggest effort to diversify industries. This has enabled the country to expand their options in the industrial market. This will result in positive changes in the AI industry as well as in other industries. All of the ERA's industries are now expected to maintain symbiotic relationships with each other and develop very rapidly.
This was Team Okai. Now we will move on to the next team, Missing Semester.
And we have 7 core values: so perseverance, empowerment, innovation, humanity, open-mindedness, integrity, and intellectual curiosity. And through these core values, we aim to achieve these following objectives. So our first policy, and probably the most important policy, is to adjust the basic income. And for the industrial part, we believe that title is not the most perfect solution, as it provides only one chance, and also it is the only unique evaluation method available. We also want to repurpose education, especially education for students. We believe that education for adults needs to be reformed as well. Also, we want to reduce the social gap, reduce the miscommunication and non-communication between the elite citizens and the non-elite citizens of Iraq. And we want to provide a chance to discuss national policies. Lastly, we want to make people more professional. We believe that our solution would have a great effect on Iraq. We also provide solutions. So we actually deployed our solution live on a website, and we have a landing page which describes about Iraq and explains why our solutions are necessary if you have missed it. So we have, for instance, a lifelong learning platform. We also provide a capstone project platform. Lastly, we also have a hackathon platform. So in summary, we introduced these policies, and for the implementation for it, we provide different kind of platforms, such as lifelong learning platforms, capstone project platforms, and hackathon platforms.
Now this brings us to the last team of today's debate, Team Goosebrain, whenever you're ready.
We have 3 main policy areas focusing on the job market, corporate management, and education, with 4, 3, and 3 policies within respectively. Additionally, we have come up with an innovation to support our policies in each area.
Okay, so our first policy is to expand the tourism sector of Iraq. In our second policy, Iraq will fully utilize one of the biggest marketing tools of modern times, social media. So our first innovation complements our first 2 policies. It is propaganda to promote Iraq as an arts and high-end tourist destination. So now I'll go on to our third job market policy, which is for a startup ecosystem. Our last job market policy is to limit working hours.
Now let's move on to policies for corporate management. The value of data increases with the prevalence of AI. In AROC's digitized society, the contemporary tax system is not adequate since the data assets of the AI conglomerates are not considered. One way to solve this problem is to tax companies on their volume of data collection. Implementing this data tax system has several benefits. Our sixth policy is for workforce diversification. Our seventh policy is the establishment of a government body that is responsible to design policies on AI ethics and regulate their implementation. Our second innovation is the software to support the data tax policy.
We have established that private education is elitist, allowing the rich classes to pay for better teaching. Our ninth policy is perhaps the most important, and it is the namesake of our team. This is the implementation of GOOSE, along with a reform of the existing title. So our last education policy is an international exchange. So our last innovation is the GOOSE curriculum.
Now we will move on to a discussion section where all the teams will be given 10 minutes to prepare for the Q&A session soon to follow. And now we move on to the Q&A session. Before opening the floor for questions, I would like to begin the Q&A session by asking an opening question to Team Okai. Bringing attention to the idea 1 and 3, namely Job Fair 2071 and ARCO, Iraq Robot Customizing Organization. The Job Fair is solely for informing citizens of all the other professions except for AI. I kind of liked how you improved it from the semifinals so that it can be a feedback mechanism for potential projects. And ARCO will be something ubiquitous because of the advancement in AI and robots. We failed to find too much relevance of these ideas to solve any of the suggested problems. So could you kindly elaborate?
I want to first clarify that job includes not only the job of the AI fields, but also the job which is created by the people who want to express themselves and make a self-realization. So by providing people the AI customizing robot service, people would have more opportunity to express themselves and do what they want and enjoy their hobby, and thereby they will naturally participate in the jobs which they like. In that way, we wanted to make people naturally create more jobs instead of restricting and providing them the few jobs by the government.
Now, I would like to entertain questions from the professors. If they have any, they can unmute themselves anytime.
Another question from me goes to Team Goose. I guess you're the only team who pointed out that we're living in a globalized world and that the solution needs to reflect that. And I like that you propose enhancing tourism, which is one way to transform into a more service-driven economy. And related to that, you also pointed out that private education sector is a large business, but you still wanted to restrict that. But doesn't it somehow goes against basic human instinct or isn't it somehow unethical to prevent somebody from getting better education just because somebody has more resources than the other? And in relation to the AI, the cost of education may go down, right? So, and wouldn't banning private education substantially impede innovations in education and thus impede the development of the society in the long run?
We recognize that banning private education is quite a strong policy, but we believed that it is necessary to implement it in this very competitive AROC society, considering the elite class. The question of the right to choose a better education derives from the environment where there is still existing a better private education. due to social and economic inequality. So through our policies, the public education system will actually be improved, if not become better than current private education systems. Therefore, we wanted to remove the divided education environment, so now all students in EROC can have a good quality education. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but so in terms of keeping the title, whether we should keep the title or not, you decided to keep title, right? So in this case, if you are more consistent with your argument, I think keeping the private sector as it is, or having an alternative path and fostering public education would naturally, I thought, would be your answer solution to this.
So just to be clear, we have not kept title the same. In fact, our reformed title will be quite different from the existing system, which only allows the elite class through their private education systems to fill up the top 5%. The new title will provide opportunities through the public education system for everyone to have the chance to take title as an academic stream if they wish, or alternatively go to our other pathways for education.
To stay on timeline, we now move towards the end of the debate, where each team will present their conclusions.
The EROC created in Goosebrain's future with our policies will be one of equality for everyone. That is our key value, egalitarianism. However, we are promoting this through providing equal opportunities. That is our key focus. Then we have created new sectors of the job market to find work for these people who have trained in certain vocational fields. And we have created policies for corporate management to ensure that the existing AI corporations become less elitist and separate from the rest of the EROC population. So overall, our EROC will be created as an equal society through our policies which work in conjunction to finance each other, become self-sustaining, and promote a better future for all citizens.
To mitigate the issues within EROC, our team's main concern was to find the most appropriate method to balance people's freedoms and the overall well-being of the community. We had to find the appropriate methods to ensure diversity, provide opportunities, reduce social gap, yet maintain international competitiveness and promote harmony within EROC. EROC currently faces 5 problems: title and basic income orientation, malformed distribution of the national budget, a lack of student relief plans, job monopolization, and a nepotist society. These are problems that must be solved, but we do not believe that attacking a certain member or group of our society or forcing a radical policy is the answer. Instead, we strongly believe that harmony within EROC can only be achievable through constant civilian participation in governmental affairs and policies, through interchange between the citizens regardless of their socioeconomic status, and by providing a set of opportunities so that people can constantly study, challenge themselves, and be employed. For this, we have created several policies and 3 platforms. The policies are divided into 6 parts, and our 3 solutions and our 3 platforms are lifelong learning platforms, capstone project platforms, and hackathon platform.
Thank you, Missing Semester, for your concluding remarks. Team Okai?
To solve these and the consequent problems, we, the team of KAI, had proposed creative, but at the same time realistic policies and products, and have actively discussed with all you guys. Machines have replaced the jobs which had been done by servants, and thanks to the machines, people were enabled to enjoy more diverse and meaningful jobs in that time. Today, we are facing the exact same situation. AI is fastly developing and is starting to enter the realm of our lives. Of course, it can be very unfamiliar and very frightening at first. However, this is a change to necessarily happen. Thus, rather than being afraid and trying to ignore the upcoming change, let's admit it, look straight at the reality and start preparing to make it a better future. Only if we deeply think about it and actively discuss it and meticulously prepare for it can we reduce trial and error and bring about the right future. So, in that sense, we highly appreciate this conference for giving us an opportunity to seriously think about our future. And while participating in this conference, we have considered numerous variables and have seriously discussed about what would the ideal society look like. More than thinking about AI, we could also think about the essence of education, humanity or job, and the reason for the existence of a state.
This brings us to the end of today's session. I hope that this debate, everyone hopefully enjoyed, and the whole process of devising policies will make you into future innovators and leaders. So with that, I now declare the debate officially closed.